Alright, today is power. And power, by definition, is the rate the rate that work is done. Now, whenever we have rate involved, time is one of the things that's required. So if there's a rate of something, there's then times involved. So if you do the same amount of work in a shorter time, it's greater power, and vice versa. So whenever there's rate, there's always time. In this case, power is the rate that work is done. So power is the rate that work is done in symbol form. The way we do that is that power equals work done over the time that it takes, little t. So in symbol form, we can say P equals W over T. Now, of course, work is also change in energy, so we could also write it and say that it's the change in energy over the time. Alright, so the unit of it is a special unit. It's not just a combination of joules and seconds. It's the watt, which is W. Alright. Now, there is one situation. Alright, so this situation here, when you have something moving, like this car moving, and it's moving at constant velocity. Now, to make it move, it's got to have some sort of driving force, and of course when it moves, it's going to be moving through the air, so there's air resistance plus other bits of friction maybe. But if it's moving at constant velocity, then those two things are in balance. So what we can do is we can come up with an equation and we can say, okay, so we know that the power is the work over the time that it takes. Now we also know that work is force times distance, the distance it travels over the time it takes. So if I group these two here together and rewrite it and say force equals x, not equals, times x over t. And also the other thing is that x over t, well, that's actually velocity, is x over t. So I could replace x over t by velocity, and then I'll come up with something that's moving at constant velocity with some sort of driving force. We can work out the power is F times V. Now, while strictly speaking that's not on the course, it's something that's been useful in exams in the past, so it's something worth putting on your formula sheet. Okay, so the next bit that we are looking at here is collisions. Now, we've done a little bit about collisions when we did momentum, so one thing, momentum is conserved. Alright, so in all collisions, Alright, so important you remember that. Now, there's also an energy consideration as well. So in terms of energy consideration, there's a thing that's called elastic collisions, and elastic collisions, kinetic energy, EK, is conserved. The other type of collision would be inelastic, so in other words, not elastic, and in that case, the kinetic energy is not conserved. Now, we're used to inelastic collisions. An example of that would be, you've got a ball and you drop it and it goes down and it bounces, and when it bounces it only comes up to, instead of starting at this height, only bounces to that height. Okay, so there's some energy gone somewhere else. So the kinetic energy, remember it's kinetic energy we're talking about here. So kinetic energy is not being conserved. Alright, so here you had a gravitational down to kinetic, then we've had this interaction with the ball bouncing on the ground, and we've got kinetic and it goes back to gravitational but doesn't get as high because there was, after the interaction, less kinetic energy than there was before the interaction. Alright, so a super bouncy ball might be close to elastic, but most balls are not. Alright, so in your notes there it talks about that for elastic collisions and for inelastic collisions. Alright. Okay, so let's look at an example. So in your notes you've got this roller coaster, so let's have a look at this example. Okay, so here's our roller coaster. So we're considering a roller coaster with lift hill height of 25 metres. So there we are over here, 25 metres. And a loop of 18 metres as shown. At the top of the lift hill, the roller coaster has 0 velocity. Then it rolls down the hill. Calculate the speed of the car at point P. So here, that's here. At point P on the loop when the car is 6 metres above the ground. Assume friction is negligible. Alright, there's a few different ways that we could do this. So, one of those ways is what I would do. I'll say, alright, so when we're up here, we have a certain amount of gravitational. So, gravitational is M. Now, we're not told the M, the G, and the H, which is 25. Alright, the G, of course, is 9.8. So, 25 times 9.8 is 245. So, 245, 45, and I'll leave that in. That's how much gravitational potential energy there will be. Alright, so that's when the car does. Now, the car, of course, as we would know, rolls down the hill, goes around the loop, and whatever, and then perhaps heads out there. In terms of what we're interested, though, is we're interested in knowing how fast is this thing going here at that point. So at that point there, which is 6 metres above the ground, The object has a total energy, so the total of some gravitational plus some kinetic. Now, the total energy, from energy being conserved and not destroyed, well, up here at the top there, because it was zero velocity when it started rolling, so the only energy that it had here was gravitational, so 245 m. So what do we know? We know that there's a total energy of 245 m. What else do we know? All right, we know here that the gravitational is the m times the g, which is 9.8, times that height, which is 6. So when we do that, 6 times 9.8, we get 58.8 m times the mass. All right, so back up here to our orange one. So our total energy, we know, has got to be 245 m. And that's got to be equal to the energy, because remember, energy is not created or destroyed. The gravitational, which is 58.8 m, plus the kinetic. I'll just mix my symbols there. All right, then when we take 58.8 m from both sides, we've got 245 minus 58.8. So we've got 186.2 m there. And kinetic energy, of course, is a half mv squared. Now you'll notice there's m on both sides, so they cancel. That's handy. Get rid of the half times both sides by 2. So 372.4 equals the v squared. And so that means v is the square root of that, which is 19.30 metres per second. All right, so there's other ways that we could do it. That one that I have shown you is as easy as any. All right, so text questions, and then there's a few also past exam questions in your notes there. Not too many in this one, so you might be able to get through. I think there's only 10. You might be able to get through all 10 on this one. If not, just be selective and save the rest for revision. Okay, so don't forget my notes on the website, and also don't forget to ask clarification for things in this lesson.